Hi everyone, welcome to the day 45 of the Shipperton challenge. This video was actually not supposed to be made, but I think one of the organizers made a mistake in the date. So somebody noticed that it was mentioned Thursday of September 18th and it was a Wednesday, and they were like, should we follow September 18th or should we follow Thursday, which is September 19th? So as soon as they saw the post, I think they sent out a tweet that the date is now extended by a whole day and you have like a whole 24 hours more. By that time I was like done with the hackathon. But as soon as I saw that tweet, I was like, yeah, I now have something to ship. But my mind wasn't about shipping anything, and I wanted to focus on accessibility, and I did. I made a lot of improvements on the accessibility part, especially voiceover and voice control. And but in the later half of the day, I was like, I have some unused code and I cannot let it go to waste. Like I was creating some wallpapers and I needed this feature where I could make the gradient darker and like less saturated. So I was like, I have to get this done. So I started coding and I shipped it. I actually shipped it. I asked for an expedited review and they approved the app. So there's a lot to show today, so it's gonna be a long video. So I hope you get some coffee or tea, whatever you like, and let's watch the show. The show, it's a show now, 45 days. I don't think it's a whole 5 season thing. So the first part was working with voice control. I think I should just turn it on so that I can show it better. Let me do that on my phone. So when I turn on voice control, it did not turn on. I think that's a privacy issue. It's not a privacy issue because I can see the blue thing and it works well on the phone. Why is it not showing on the device? I think it is a privacy issue. I will just speak out the things instead. So let me just switch off the let's just switch off the voice control. So the first part was all the icons did not had an accessibility label, so I did that. And even when I added the accessibility label, it was not working. So I have worked with the voice control team, so I know that you need to add the accessibility input labels as a alternative. So I added alternative, like for voiceover, this favorite button is supposed to say add to favorites or remove from favorites, but for voice control I wanted a very succinct label, so I just say favorite or unfavorite. And same for meshing AI, and gear icon is settings, and craft arrange, all of these remain the same. And another thing was that this text, when you add it, it would be read out by voiceover because that's how it should be, but it wouldn't be read out by voice control. And same for the meshing title, it would say meshing heading, but voice control will not add a label to it. And the second thing, which was something I had to take a decision on, was when you work on the craft or any of these items, the problem is that because it's a partial sheet, it does not take the whole screen, the things beneath it would also show. So when I would click on this craft option, then the favorite templates, photos, cameras would have the labels, but all the 6 items which are like behind it would also have the labels. And it got very annoying for any voiceover user because they have to like go 10 times, 11 times actually, because of this sheet grabber. So what I did was like I was thinking, like, when you're working with this, you wouldn't want the presentation to be interactive anyway. It's much easier when you're looking at it and you want to move the dots easily. That's the reason I wanted the presentation interaction enabled. Otherwise I wouldn't want that. So I added the environment variable to check if there's any accessibility enabled or not, and if there is, then it would disable the interaction completely. So now when I have these 4 items, it will only show these 4 items. So that was one thing that I got well, and I'm happy about that. For the arrange, what I did was these show points and show labels, these are normal controls toggles, so I didn't have to do anything about that. SwiftUI by default provides me the option, like when I click on show labels, it would say show labels is selected, and because all of these labels are already localized, so if you use any other language, like I added Turkish language support today, so if you use any other language, then you can have the same accessibility features, the same localized text when you're using voiceover. And same for this picker, by 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 and 4 by 4. The problem came for this aspect ratios, because these are custom buttons. So for this, what I did was I added, like I combined the icon and this arrow, and just made it one whole label element, and then on that I added the orientation as the accessibility label, and the value, which is either horizontal or vertical, which I think is good for people who use voiceover. The second was that I had already added the accessibility labels for the ratios, but I made this mistake that for each of the items it was calculating the selected one. So all of these items were saying 3:4, 3:4. I'm like, why did I do that? But now that's fixed, and because I have added, these are buttons, so when 3:4 is selected, it would read out that it is selected and it's a button, so you can know that you can click on it and make changes. So that was another good part. In the refine section, this blur slider did so this background and the add noise, because these are normal toggles, and this one as well, so it will work as expected, because these are provided by SwiftUI out of the box. But for the blur, there is this accessibility representation. I think it was available in 2021. I knew about it. So what the idea is that the accessibility, the representation of this view is represented by another. The accessibility representation is by another view. So what I can do is that I can have this beautiful slider, but underneath for this accessibility element, it would use the representation of the default slider that is provided by SwiftUI. So I get the out-of-box SwiftUI accessibility features, making it easy, because Apple has done their work on how a slider should be accessible to voiceover users or voice control users. So all I had to do was write the slider, provided the value and the range, and what would be the value for this slider. So that made my job really easy, and I did it for this noise as well. Let me just switch it off and make the blur 0, and then add the noise for the normal one and just increase it a bit. And then for animate, I don't think I worked much on this, because I wasn't sure how to go about fixing these, especially this animate or the show wireframe. Smooth colors make sense, the random button makes sense, but how do I make these items accessible? I have no idea. If you do, please let me know. For the mask, it is using this normal text field, a normal picker. This font is also using a normal menu. This is now using what it is called, it's a accessibility representation, so it's accessible by default. And same for save, the width and height and all of this, it's a normal disclosure group. All these buttons and this I think it said document on document, which I could not. So that's one thing I have to fix. And so finally, with that, I was able to make most of the app accessible. And Now that I know that I did not make that icon accessible, it was a simple fix. I was so busy doing the features, now I feel very guilty. I will just send a build now for review. Do not do an expedite because I have asked it for 5 times, which is too much. Too much. Too much. So let's move on to the second part of the video, which is showing you the new hue, saturation and brightness sliders. These are so amazing. Like, I have been working on these sliders, these kind of sliders, for a month. I think the main code of writing a hue slider was there on 12th or 7th of August, which means it's been 40 days since I tried doing that. I could not succeed. So we will go through each slider one by one, and because I learned about the accessibility representation, so as I was working on it, I added the representation while writing the code. So I'm very happy that I followed what I should have followed before. But it's a good step, one step at a time. So this brightness, my idea was to kind of copy the exact design from the Photos app. Like when you click on the Photos app, you will see a selective color option, which will give you the hue and the saturation. But in that app, the bars were on the top, and I did not want to copy exactly how it was. I wanted something of my own that looks very neat. And whenever you cross these bars, there's a soft haptic, and when you cross the bigger bars, there's a rigid haptic. So it feels very nice to use these sliders. And I did not, so for brightness, I either had the option to go from 0 to 1, like make it fully bright, or I also found a workaround that if you want to darken it, you just pass a negative value. So I went from 0 to -1, but I felt like it did not make sense to go like a fully bright or fully darkened gradient. So what I did was just use 0.5 as the maximum one and -5 on the other side, which I think is what most of the people would want to use. So you can see, like, when I have it on 0 and then when I go to -2.5, you can see the difference, and the believe in yourselves pops up better because of the contrast ratio. So this is what I wanted. Bringing it back, the second thing I worked was the saturation bar. The idea is to like desaturate it and getting the slider to be perfect was an idea. Like earlier I was thinking of just taking a few colors, but then I was like, if I have all the colors available, I should take advantage of it. So if I go and change the template to something else, like let's say this one, you see that the saturation will also change, and as it desaturates, this changes as well. So this is something I'm very proud of. And finally we have the hue. So will I cut it from the video, the sound of the ambulance? I don't think so, but it's too loud. Anyway, I should wait. Should I? Okay, it stopped. So for the hue, I will just slowly move, and so you can see how the saturation is moving as well. Like it does not, wow, this looks so pretty. And then you come back, you're back to green. Like getting all these colors back to their original position was hard. Wow, I'm so proud of this. Like this becomes a whole new gradient in itself. Like this is if you want to not spend much of your time on each of the colors and you just want a much better experience, this is what you need. And I'm so proud of this. And then I can just take this dot somewhere else, smoothen the colors, and just say believe in yourself with a full stop. Increase the font size, make this copper plate. Oh wow, feels like heaven. Let me favorite this. So with that, I can proudly say that this Shepperton is a success for me, and I am happy and content with the result. Yes. No. There's this one last thing, which was adding animated export videos. I tried it again an hour ago when there was like 11 hours left for this hackathon. I wanted to like give it one last try, but I just could not get it to work the way I wanted it to. And I gave up on that, and I was like, I should have something, like leave something for beyond Shipperton, right? If I finish everything in this hackathon itself, I will have an existential crisis that I could not get out of. I need something to keep me busy while waiting for the results. So I'm happy. I'm not happy, but I'm not as in a state where I can say that, oh, Shipperton did not go well and I could have done better. I feel like I did better than I thought a few days ago, and especially adding this masking option was something I wanted really bad. I was desperate about it, and shipping it to the App Store, shipping the new hue, saturation, and brightness. I worked on them for like 2 hours, and I have been working on that idea for 40 days. So I'm just so proud of myself to get the glimpse of my potential and how to work with GPT-4 or no, it's O1 preview and Claude. Like Claude was not able to solve something, so I would give it to O1 to give me better output with reasoning. And we live in a grateful world, and if I'm not shipping right now, I should reconsider what I'm doing with my life, especially because now my consulting project is over and I have all the time to myself to do something with my life. And as my quote says, believe in yourself. I should just give me a moment. I will make it a 9:16 and just save it to photos. Perfect. So with that, this is kind of the last video that I'm putting on YouTube for Shipperton, like the technical part of it. I will try to put one tomorrow for gratitude, like document my journey and how it has been since the first one. And I hope you enjoyed watching these videos. I will miss creating these videos. I thought there was a point last week where I wanted to be done with all of this videos, but now I know there will be an empty space every night that can only be filled by creating videos. Like if you have heard this song by James Arthur, you will understand the reference. But anyway, a lot of yapping today, almost 20 minutes video. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you enjoyed this 45 days journey with me. I definitely did. It had a lot of ups, higher ups and lower lows. That's how I am as a dramatic person, and I stayed true to myself for that. So let's see who wins. I hope the best one wins, and I think I have already won because I got to be the person I wanted to be, someone who ships a ton and isn't just in his head doing nothing. So I should be proud of myself and congratulate myself for that, and see you today, because the Shipperton ends in 7 or almost 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, something like that. And I will create a last video, so that's today itself, and I will go back and update my description, because I want to add about this bonus day that Revenue Cat gave me and how much I was able to accomplish because of that anxiety driven development, that I need to get the most out of this hackathon, and I did. So I have to write. I'm a writer. I have to have all the people understand my world of words. So with that, have a good day.